Hello. Thanks to modern technology, I am now able to deliver on my task to provide you with a brief account of the expert group meeting that was held in October 2014 on the topic of formal and informal institutions and citizen engagement in the implementation of the post-2015 development agenda. This meeting is another step towards helping expound the proposed social development goals. Experts agreed that the scope of these social development goals raises issues requiring responses beyond government policies and programs. These responses must involve community as a whole and tasks that could only be carried out by community members and organizations. 26 international experts came together for the expert group meeting, and they are made up of practitioners, researchers, academics, government officials, as well as leaders of international and regional civil society organizations. The key objective of the meeting was to examine how governments could more effectively collaborate with non-state actors in addressing development challenges that will emerge post-2015. Through 6 plenary sessions, via papers and presentations, which served as stimuli for lively discussions, we elaborated on a variety of thinking and regard about formal and informal institutions as the spaces for citizen engagement processes. Following is an attempt to present to you via video some of the major inputs and results of this meeting.
Too often, tension exists between the formal rules that define these institutions, say, through constitutions and laws, and the informal rules that also shape them in the form of sanctions, taboos, customs, traditions, and codes of conduct. Experts had a number of important views on the tensions between formal or informal institutions, the highlights of which can be summarized in 4 basic views. The pragmatist view. Governments should be cautious about trying to reform formal institutions through citizen-led initiatives. Sometimes, the better approach will be to leverage the power of established groups, which is more likely to result in change that is sustainable. The people power view. Citizen engagement is a way to transform awareness, information, dialogue, and action onto people power, which is a formidable force to uproot established elites and end corrupt practices. The proxy view. Organizations that operate wholly or partly outside normal state structures sometimes take on various governance-related functions, thus making them surrogates or proxies of government. The continuum view. Formal institutions and informal organizations are like 2 poles of a continuum. As time passes, there are more and more hybrid relationships, rules, and organizations that lie somewhere between these extremes. It appeared that the distinction between formal and informal was of greater concern in countries where the boundaries between state and non-state organizations were either sharply drawn or where the state was particularly vulnerable to outside forces. In such circumstances, the impact of citizen engagement may be less predictable than elsewhere, so that the line between benefits and risks is harder to draw. Context is everything. For the most part, experts agreed that citizen engagement should not be seen as an alternative to representative democracy, but rather as a necessary approach to validating government democracy. Experts also agreed that capacity building should not be limited to the public sector, but should focus on leadership from across the policy community. The meeting noted that the autonomous participatory organizations dedicated to participation, that is, public institutions that have been designed specifically to increase citizen engagement in decision-making process could be highly promising. Experts also heard about how the engagement community should put more effort into developing processes that combine both online and face-to-face approaches. They felt that online tools could be used to scale up engagement processes in at least two important ways. First, online tools have the capacity to involve large numbers of people in a single process and across vast distances. Second, engaging large numbers of people does not have to result in watering down the discussion. Finally, it was noted that citizen engagement was too often focused on policy making. We need to remember that participatory processes and institutions that work to make such processes relevant and effective are very important. These institutions play a role in ensuring scrutiny, oversight, and monitoring of government. A variety of experts also talked about the importance of open data for the Sustainable Development Goals and made the case for strong policies to support it, including at least one who pointed out the need to build the data revolution from bottom up to achieve development.
In conclusion, we agree that context is an all-important element when we examine and also recommend ways to address the different aspects of formal and informal institutions in the light of citizen engagement contributing to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. I also would like to underline the agreement we reached that citizen engagement is not an alternative to representative democracy. Instead, citizen engagement must be taken as a necessary element for government in its approach to addressing major issues, given the increasingly complex, oftentimes volatile, and ambiguous environment. Allow me to close this report by saying that what struck me most about the meeting was the real serious open exchange, marked by a combination of philosophical and practical. There, in our discussion unfolded, a way of integrating knowledge with prescriptions for action, marked by a palpable application of practical judgment and practical wisdom. It involved not only appreciative judgments in the terms of values, but also an understanding of the practical political realities of given and unfolding situations as part of an integrated judgment in terms of power. Formal and informal institutions involving citizen engagement are spaces where citizens are able to assert their power through engagement and even disengagement. I would like to thank you for giving me the chance to be with you and to share with you our outputs of that meeting.